Now, what I love about doing product reviews is when companies actually watch them and listen to what you have to say about the criticisms of that product and apply it towards their next one. That's exactly what Freewell did with this one. This is the brand new locking VND filter set from Freewell. Now, if you guys remember, they used to have a magnetic VND filter where you could literally just pop the thing on the front and then that would be your VND. My only problem was that every now and then you might bump it. It could fall off, you might lose it on the ground, it's glass, it's gonna break. And when I did a review for that video, that was one thing that I said that I wish that it would lock on other than just being magnet. That's exactly what this is. So Freewell made this new locking VND set, and the one really cool thing about it too is that this is a 3-to-9 with some other tricks up its sleeves that you can make it even a 10+ stop filter on top of that. So let's get this box opened. So inside of the box, you're gonna have this cool little leather case. This is something we've pretty much seen on every filter release now that Freewell has in one way or another. I do like this case. It's a nice case you can put all your stuff in. I do wish that they would also give you the option to get the smaller case because sometimes you just don't have enough room in your bag. So inside of this case, you're gonna have pretty much everything you need to shoot for like the whole day. So this is gonna give you different options of how many stops of light you can stop, starting with the main kit itself. And then you also have different filters you can add on top of that to make it even darker. And then they do make some other lenses that we'll get into that are more like effect filters. So taking a look first just at this. So this is a pretty nice little case. It has a front cover and a rear cover. Now, the one thing with these old Freewell ones that I didn't like is they had the magnet thing that took like an army to take off. And then if you did that, you might drop it. This is a lot different now. This thing's super light, it's super skinny. And if you look at the front of the case here, you'll see that it says NFC. So what that's gonna do is that it allows you to take your smartphone, tap it on front of the thing, and it's gonna bring up the thing that says website. So that's gonna give you your entire operating manual so you can know how to use this. So that's kind of nice if you're like out on the go and you forgot how to do something, you can just tap that, it'll tell you how to set everything up. So looking at this case here, you have your front cover that comes right off using these little squeeze levers. And then on the back side, you also have these other levers that pops out the rear lens cap so you can put it on the front. Now, the cool thing with the rear lens cap is you can see that it has a gray card, a black card, and a white card built right into this. So if you guys are out and you want to adjust your white balance using a white card or a gray card, you can use this as well. That's a pretty cool feature. But mostly I like that you can just pop it on. Now you have the filter. I can put this thing in my pocket. So that's one nice thing about having cases around your filters. And then the other thing I really appreciate is they took the rear and the front lens cap and you just can squeeze those together. That makes it really cool. So I can pop this in my pocket and not worry about having them fall apart and loosen my back. So when you order this kit, it's gonna ask you what filter size you're trying to order. I specifically ordered an 82mm because the biggest lenses I have are 82mm. So once again, if you have like a 67, all you have to use is a step up ring from like a 67 to an 82. And then you can adapt that ring just fine. You will be able to order other filter rings to go with this as well, but I always recommend just getting the 82 and then just getting step-up rings to match said lens you're using, because that way you're never gonna have to buy like a second ND filter or something. Although with the ND filter rings that they use for this, they are kind of like built-in step-in rings, so you can go on the website and purchase more if you need to. All right, so now that I got the ring attached to the lens itself, all we have to do is take off that rear lens cap by squeezing the two levers. While you're still squeezing the levers, put it right back on the front, and now it's on. You don't have to like sit there and thread it on, worrying that you might drop the filter if it doesn't catch. This thing just goes right on, and it stays on. It's not coming off. So that is really sweet with this kit, is that it stays on. That's why they call it the real locking kit. So now that we have the filter on the lens, I'm gonna show you how to actually use the ND filter itself. So on the top here, you'll see that it says 3 all the way to 7. Below that, you'll actually see the ND value. So it's an ND 8 all the way to ND 32. That's just the different light stops. And then all you have to do is you have either a thing on the top or on the bottom. You can spin that from 3 all the way to 7, and it's gonna get darker as you turn. So really you have to just kind of dial in where you want it. And that's cool that they give you the option for both top and bottom. So what this basically means is now is you can set up your camera for how you want it. So if you want to run like a really fast aperture, like a 1.4, 2.8, something like that, you can put your camera all the way down to that, but obviously you're going to be like super overexposed out in the sun. That's why you have this VND. So you can just turn it from 3 all the way until it starts to be the right exposure. For me, I'm going to be looking for that like plus 1.7 while using S-Log3. But literally you just watch your gauge on your camera and you can see exactly when you get exposure. You can also obviously just look at your screen and see what it looks like until it looks good. So this filter has one really cool trick up its sleeve that I wasn't expecting, but it's actually really cool. And it's also a CPL filter. So now how that's gonna work with this is all you have to do is just squeeze those things in, but don't pull it off. You just squeeze them in and you can turn it. that allows it to be a CPL filter. So if you're shooting around like water and you want no reflections, or let's say you're doing like car videography, photography, and you want to get rid of that glare from the sun, you just turn it until like your image looks good. That's what makes this lens really cool. Now they had a previous one that had a little set screw on there. I hated that because the screw fell out once, couldn't find it. But this thing makes this super easy just to like turn it and get the right polarization that you're looking for. So what I really appreciate that Freewell did with this filter is they made this a 3 to 7 stop. Now I'm used to using like 2 to 5 stop, and then you have to use a 6 to 9 stop. A lot of times like 5 is just not quite dark enough for me, so then I'm jumping to the 6 to 9, but then that gets almost too dark right away. But having that 3 to 7 makes it so that I can just literally leave this straight on the camera and I'll be pretty good. Now I don't really use that 2 stops too often because it's like you have to be in such minimal like brightness to make that work. But the really cool thing that Freewell did with this is if you want to add on, they do have this 32 ND filter that comes with this kit. Now you can use this by itself. You don't have to use any of the VND with this. You can just straight up use this as the 32 ND filter. But what's really cool is you can take this thing, put it directly on top of this and stack them. So you just squeeze those sides in, put it right on top. Now you're looking at having like an 8 to 10 plus ND filter. So literally if it's too bright out for that 3 to 7, you can just add this on top and you're gonna be good. And you can still use like the CPL, you can still use all that. Everything's still just as functional as it was on the previous, but now you just have that stacked lens. So they are going to be making a bunch of different filters. One of them they actually sent over to me, and that is the glow mist. So this is just going to be a glow mist or like a cine bloom filter. You're going to see if you look at it in the light that it's got like little specks of stuff on it, almost like they took hairspray to it. That's going to give you that kind of cool diffused look. I'm actually using a glow mist right now. That's why these lights in the background kind of have a little bit of halation to it. This is a quarter mist, so it's going to be a pretty strong one. The one I'm using right now on this lens is like an 1/8 mist, so it's not as strong. But these things, once again, you can just stack them right on top of the other ones. You can put them on any order. You can use it by itself. That's what's really cool about these setups, is that you can just take them all off and just use the one if you want to. So if I want to use just the mist filter, I can pop that on, and now I have the mist filter. So this is gonna be cool for like indoor shooting or like photography where you don't want to have a VND. You can just use that by itself. So that makes this really cool and function. So they are going to be putting out a few other different filters. It looks like a UV filter, a separate CPL, an ND32 with a built-in glow mist, an ND4, an ND32, a snow mist, and a black glow mist quarter. So you're going to have a bunch of different things. And it does look like for adapter rings for the actual lens, they will be making those in a 49, a 52, a 55, a 58, 62, 67, 72, 77, and 82. That's pretty much every lens that exists out there except for those like 95mm ones. So you're going to be covered with that, and you can get those all separate. So if you want to put these on multiple lenses, not have to switch them at all, that's probably the way to go. So anyways, you guys, that's this kit. I think it's a really sweet kit. I love that you can just pop these things on. Like that makes it so much easier. And then I also just love that I can just pop this like lens filter cap right on top and just throw this in my bag. It's super easy to work with. When I went out earlier today shooting some of the B-roll, this thing was like simple to use. I love that everything just clips together, and I like that everything is secure. That's the important part, because I don't want my filters falling off. So that's pretty cool. And I just love the option that you can use the ND32 by itself or like stack it, make it darker. So anyways, you guys, if you want to check this thing out, this kit's going to come in at $249 with the ND32, the VND, and the adapter ring with the case. If you check out the link in my description down below, you're going to save 10%. I do believe there's a code that's LOCK10. Otherwise, I'm sure these things will be on Amazon shortly once they're more out. As far as the prices on like some of the glow mist and stuff, you will have to check the website on that because they didn't give you any information with those. But anyways, you guys, if you have any questions about this filter set, leave me a comment down below. Like this video if it's been a help. And as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Later.